it's painful as a fan, and it's been painful as a football fan. We'll get to how happy and joyous it is to be a Knick fan. We'll get to the other goings around in the NFL. We'll get to maybe even some baseball, as boring as that is right now. Do something! Both the Mets and Yankees need to do something, but let's talk about how depressed we are yet again, because it's tough as a football fan, and this weekend was the epitome of it, right? Watching the Giants in that manner, rooting for them to lose, as I think most Giant fans were, even if you're not a tanker. At this point, it makes no sense to root for them to win necessarily, but we don't have to have that discussion all morning long. But there's nothing worse than feeling that way as a fan. And then you watch the Jet game and how brutal that was. And the other aspect of how brutal it is for a fan is when you see something as a fan, you see something the organization needs to do, a direction they need to go, something that needs to happen to stop the madness of these two teams being as dreadful as any other organization in the sport. And it's clear as day what needs to happen. And you know the organization's not going to do it. You know it. You know it. And for the New York Giants, we know Joe Shea needs to go. And he's not going to. And for the New York Jets, maybe some Jet fans don't see it just yet. But if you don't take what happened this past Sunday against the Patriots and follow it up with the way Aaron Glenn spoke to the media after the game and what he said yesterday and what he said this entire season, and you don't look at the way they've played, the way he's coached them, the things that he has backed off of consistently at every turn this entire season, because you look at it now, and the latest was obviously yesterday. If you haven't heard it, we'll play it at some point. He comes out after the game on Sunday and for the first time finally acknowledges what we have all seen over the entire month of December since they beat the Falcons, which looked like a completely different football team last night. But since they beat the Falcons, this entire month of December, the effort level has been in question. There is no doubt about that. And yes, they're playing we all know they're playing a quarterback who shouldn't be in the NFL. They traded away two of their best defensive players. We know all the stuff we talked about over the last month. The fact of the matter is we have seen lousy teams. We have seen the Browns beat the Steelers. We have seen the Saints play well down the stretch with a second-round quarterback. We have seen other teams. The Falcons had nothing to play for last night. We have seen other teams get off the deck and at least give you representative football. Hell, the Raiders kept it close against the Texans before finally giving up on the season. The Giants won a football game and kicked the crap out of the Raiders on Sunday. We have seen other teams find a way to muster enthusiasm to play a competitive football game, everyone except the Jets. And finally, the coach makes recognition of that and tells you he sees it too, which is what you're looking for as a fan, to feel like you understand, you're all on the same page. Even if you're losing, at least we all understand how bad it is. He finally gives you that, and then yesterday walks it back. And he has walked back everything. And here's my question to you, Jet fans, and we said it yesterday when I was with Jerry in the morning. We didn't take a ton of calls on it. I want to take your calls on it today at 888-808-1019. What exactly has Aaron Glenn done? What exactly has Aaron Glenn continued that he promised at the start of the season? And you can't just tell me dysfunctional organizations fire their coach after 1 year. And you can't just tell me that would be so typical Jets. And you can't just tell me everybody deserves a chance, because I get that. And in a different time in football, maybe that would have worked. But Aaron Glenn came in here because of why. Think of the reasons he came in here. And today we'll focus on, since we're talking about these conversations, understanding the market. You remember that one? He understands what the plight of the Jet fan, right? He was a Jet. He was a great player for the Jets. He can tell you how cold and windy it was in the AFC Championship game in 1998, and he understands the media, and he understands the fan base. How in the world could you possibly make that claim today after seeing him coach this entire season? And now take back the only comments the fan base has agreed with over the last year, walk it back, and then proceed to tell us when asked about what we can expect and what we should expect and what he has seen from his team where he is proud of them. Because remember that one? The Jets were going to be a team that you can be proud of. And then what did he do with that statement? Well, he walked it away and said, well, I didn't mean today. Eventually we're going to be proud of them, I promise you, but not today or this year. But if you were looking for a moment to be proud of your New York Jets, look no further than the end of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter, in a game against the Jacksonville Jaguars that they were losing 41-13. If you're looking for a moment, Jet fans, if you're trying to find some semblance of sanity and you want to go back and you want to put all the negativity because McMonigle is filled with it and everybody's filled with it, if I just want to escape all the madness and go and watch my football team and take even just a small segment of who they're supposed to be and who I can expect them to be under Aaron Glenn moving forward because we're going to keep them and I need to have that faith. Let me see, where can I go find it? Oh, well, they ran the football pretty well when they were down 41-13. And he showed the whole team this. It reminded me of the story of the Yankees showing the 2004 ALCS when they were down 0-3 to the Astros, trying to say, see, it's been done before. You can come back. The Red Sox did it against us. We can have a team here. Look, we ran the football for two drives, and we got chippy. This is what he's telling you is what's expected of the New York Jets. And I would tell you, and I think every fan would tell you, that nothing we have seen, nothing that we have seen should be what we expect from the New York Jets. I'm sorry. And you watch them give up. I mean, everything that he had promised, he has either walked back like he did yesterday. He can't even hold the comments because you know what happened? He made the comments that the effort was questionable. You heard in some of the sound that Crystal Presti played and some of the sound we played yesterday and from other players that they didn't like those comments. And immediately, well, I watched the film and, I think that was unfair. No, it wasn't unfair. The product on the field that we've had to watch is unfair. And to walk back those comments tells you everything. It tells you for the first time, maybe he's afraid, but he shouldn't be, because I have no doubt that Woody Johnson is not going to fire him. And I'm not saying that he can improve or he can't be a better coach, but all I'm asking is right now, today, when he took over the team, the expectations weren't to necessarily go to the playoffs or be a dominant football team or win the division or have the turnaround that the New England Patriots had. But the expectation was he chose the quarterback for a reason, right? He had a 30-second meeting with Aaron Rodgers, dismissed him, brought in Justin Fields, his hand-picked choice, along with Darren Mucci, the general manager, paid him $20 million to be this quarterback, be the quarterback of this team. They had no game plan for him whatsoever. The expectation was to have a running offense, right? A team that was going to be a smash-mouth team, a team that was going to line up in front of their man and beat the man in front of them. At the very least, they have Breece Hall, they have Wilson, they have a running quarterback. That will be the identity of this football team. He's a defensive coach. He's a defensive back coach for a team that hasn't had an interception all year, by the way. And we'll get to that at 888-808-1019. But the identity was going to be smash mouth, beat the man in front of you football. We haven't seen that outside of maybe week one and a couple of weeks in the middle of the season at all this year. At all. It was going to be a team we're supposed to be proud of. Haven't seen that at all. And now we're told, well, you shouldn't have expected that right away. Big ships move slow. Everything that was supposed to be, from understanding the team, understanding the media, understanding the fan base, building a culture, giving a team you could be proud of, playing fundamental football, eliminating the turnovers, creating turnovers, playing good defense, having an identity, building culture, playing hard to the last whistle. I mean, I could go on. Every one of those things that was promised. Playoffs weren't promised. Winning wasn't promised. I understand that. And I think most Jet fans would have understood that and understood that. But there were a laundry list of things that were supposed to be things that were promised from this new regime, and outside of accepting trades that were offered to them that were no-brainers, and they get credit for it. I'm not trying to diminish credit for it. Muji deserves credit. That's one hell of a haul for Sauce Gardner. It's a good trade for Williams. There's no doubt. They made good trade deadline deals, got a bunch of first-round picks, and for about a week and a half, the Jet fan base was pretty damn excited about the future prospects. But outside of that, there has not been one. I was listening to Willie Colon driving in today. Point blank asked, give me one positive from this coach and from this team. He can't come up with it. He watches them every day. It's his job to come up with something positive. Can't do it. And we're going to all sit back and say, well, you can't fire him because that's dysfunction. Dysfunction is seeing the problem in your face and ignoring it. And right now, unfortunately, I don't know how you say that this coach and this staff is anything other than a problem. Where's the positive from it? What has he done to bring you anything? And then he finally makes comments we can all agree with after being, confrontational at the very least with the media, not telling you who the quarterback's going to be up until the day of, like pulling all the stuff that, Bill Belichick and on the Cincinnati and champions can do. He finally says a comment where he's calling out his team after praising their effort in another blowout loss the week prior. Finally acknowledges the effort's not there. And then he recognizes, well, the players don't like it, and what does that say about me? You know what? I watched the film. It wasn't as bad as I thought. And I got to tell you, looking back on over the last couple of weeks, there was a really good drive in the fourth quarter against the Jags when we were down 41-13. That game ended 41-20, just to remind you all. We are staring at an obvious thing, and we're coming up with backhanded reasons why we shouldn't make the change. Because firing a coach after 1 year is unfair. Because firing a coach after 1 year is dysfunctional. And the Jets can't continue to be dysfunctional. What about this team? And the obvious that I've talked about forever. The decision that is looming. Now, I know with the Falcons, they were just talking about at the end of the show, the Falcons' win last night eliminates them from possibly getting the first overall pick. They were never getting the first overall pick. But they're going to have a top pick. They're going to have a bunch of picks to be willing to move up. The Giants will be ahead of them. Right now, it feels like a one-quarterback draft, but we have no idea how it plays out from here on out. We have no idea if the quarterback from Oregon is going to come out. We have no idea who else is going to rise. We have no idea who the Jets are going to feel like their next young, great quarterback is, right? And even if you are going to go the veteran route, the last time they chose to go the veteran route, they picked Justin Fields, who can't throw, and if you don't know, ask the owner. Although don't ask him much because he's not that smart. When it comes to football, at least. But that decision looming is the biggest decision the franchise has over the next 4 to 5 years. That is a franchise-deciding decision. Same as the Giants, as we're going to get to making that trade. And we'll get to that in a little bit. But this is a franchise-defining decision. And developing that quarterback and building a culture with that team, with the new quarterback, is what's going to define the next half a decade of Jets football. And you can't make decisions based on, well, we really shouldn't do this after only 1 year. I mean, I can't tell you one good reason why we shouldn't, but I feel like we shouldn't. The fact of the matter is, he chose a quarterback who can't play. The fact of the matter is, he chose a running quarterback and didn't really come up with a game plan for that. The fact is, he was brought here as a culture builder, and his team, without question, has let go of the rope as much as any other organization in football outside of the Raiders, who publicly did so. And it's hard to sit here and go over the list of promises that were made and scratch them off one by one and say anything other than Do they deserve the right to make this decision? Does he deserve the right to make this decision? Should he be the man leading the Jets into this new era of football? Because it's very hard, and I would dare say impossible, to give me significant answers other than, oh, well, that's unfair. It's only been 1 year. He's a defensive backs coach who already broke the record and is a week away from having the first team in NFL history to not have an interception throughout the entire season. His defense is worse than it was last year when it fell apart after the firing of Robert Saleh. Like, what? Name me one thing. And yesterday, embarrassing himself further by going back on the only comment that made sense over the last month, and then giving you Jets football is the one drive in the fourth quarter against the Jaguars. It's laughable. It's become sad. It's become laughable. It's become an embarrassment to the level of which is even exceeding the Jet norm. He was supposed to come in here, because let's not forget, as we wrap it up here, the biggest promise of all. This will no longer be the same old Jets. And he's right. That's the one promise he kept. They're worse. 888-808-1019. McMonigle here with you on The Fan. Quick break. We will come back.